good afternoon. It's Sunday in March, and I've decided that about time I did the blog about the swarming stuff that I've been promising for some time. I don't know what it is about the last few weeks. I felt totally incapable of writing anything at length. I think it's something to do with lockdown. My brain's gone addled. Every time I sit down to write anything, I just glaze over. Anyway, here we go. Let's talk about taking swarms. Swarms is a great public relations thing apart from anything else. We beekeepers go out there and we save the public from swarms of bees. Now, anybody who deals with bees knows that bees in reality are very gentle when they swarm. They're not violent, there's nothing nasty about them. They're really just wanting to reproduce, and that's, swarming is the natural process of reproduction for honeybees. In other words, they're creating a secondary colony, and the old queen goes off with the flying bees and sets up a new colony, etc. We'll talk more about proper swarm control, etc. later, but you need to be ready for it. Now, swarming is one of these things that we all get caught out by, and I think if you have a look at one of my previous videos, I think I actually get caught out in my own apiary one day by a swarm of bees. Now, you need some basic gear, I've got to be honest, and I keep what I call my ready box. And what I do is I always make sure, that's Blue Peter, here's what I prepared earlier. I keep a number of items together in a box, ready to go. I think I'm inspired by my roller garage door here, a bit like the door which was on, was it Thunderbirds, Jerry Anderson's cartoon, not cartoon, puppet series of the 1960s and 70s, where one of the Thunderbirds, whatever, depending on whatever rescue they were doing, loaded a sort of packaging box underneath which had just the right gear in it. So you just need a box. I've got a plastic box here. It can be cardboard, anything. Now, the most basic thing you need in it is a sheet. Alright, a sheet or a tablecloth, preferably two actually. I usually carry two with me. The purpose of the sheet is to put it on the floor underneath where the swarm is hanging. Basically, the problem we have is that when you start taking the swarm, you're bound to knock some on the ground, and it's much easier for them to land on a sheet than in amongst the grass, etc. Then there's less chance of you treading on the queen and killing her. And of all the bees in a swarm, I'll guarantee if you kill one bee, it will be the queen. So, first of all, a sheet is what you need. Other gear that you need in there, this is apart from your normal bee kit, your smoker and stuff like that, which I keep in the car at all times, my smoker and normal beekeeping gear. A pair of secateurs, cutters basically, to actually do a bit of gardening, because you'll always find that bees will get somewhere where you can't get at them. So if you can just cut your way through a bit of undergrowth, that will help you. Needless to say, sometimes you need something with a bit more oomph, and a pair of garden loppers like this I find really good for going up high. Now, that's really your basic gear, apart from something to catch the bees in. Now, what I would say to you is that there's no point in trying to get the bees from here and take them a long way over there to where your hive wants to be. So I always suggest that you put your sheet down underneath the ball of bees which is hanging there, the swarm, and then on top of that you put a box. Now, the most basic level, have a cardboard box. That one to me is a little bit on the big side. This one we'll probably do at a push. Now, this is where the sheet comes in a second time. Now, basically what you want is to get the bees in the box, and hence I'm a great believer if you can take the bees, knock the branch, they all drop in, close it up, and job done. and then all you need to do then is, if you think you've got most of them in, and you'll know quite quickly, is turn it upside down on the sheet, prop it up on a brick or a piece of wood or something, and you'll see all the bees go in and they'll climb up. Now, a cardboard box is a very basic way to go. If it gets wet, it will get soggy, but that's the minimum. Some people have a skep, if you've seen one. They're beautiful straw things. I haven't got one. I've never had one. I'd love to have one. But if you do use those, then you need basically to have the sheet. The skep gives them something to hang on to inside. Often there's a couple of little bits of wood inside, and they'll start making comb immediately. And all the bees will go in, and then you can fold it up in the sheet in the back of the car. A brush will obviously help take some off the top. One thing I would say, and this is very much sort of about how you take swarms, sort of generalisations, don't rush to take a swarm. They're going to sit there for a couple of hours, and the longer they sit there the better in a way, because they are resetting their brain to know that they're a new colony. Now, I do have a couple of other bits of kit which I use, and I use one of these. This is a quite a nice bit of kit for single-handed swarm taking. Often 2 people are very useful for a swarm, but in the current lockdown situation you can't always get 2 people where you want them to be. So here we go, let's get that round there, and basically, tangled up the string. There we are. There we are. All it is a bag which is open at the bottom, a bit like a fishing net. So before you start, you just tie a knot in the bottom of the bag with a piece of string which is round it. You could easily make one of these if you wanted to. Right, just a bag. And then you can open the lid, you offer that up to the tree where it is. It just gives you a couple of feet extra height, because needless to say, they're going to get into an awkward position. And when you think they're more or less there, you take the string, you give them a good shake, you'll feel most of them drop in, and you pull the actual lid closed. You can see that again. Give them a shake, pull the lid closed, and bring them down. Now, that's not the swarm caught, but that's got most of them in. You can then, if you want to, open the bottom, or simplistically take it like this, turn it upside down, drop them into the box. And if the queen goes in, the rest will follow, as they say. Now, let's put this down out of the way. As I said, it's got blue Peterish. Here's one I prepared earlier. I really like to use a nuke box. Here's one I sprayed and cleaned earlier. This is a 6-frame nuke, and I put 6 frames of wax in there. 2 or 3, if I've got them, old foundation, drawn wax, no stores. Alright, it's very important, no stores, and even a couple of sheets of ordinary stuff. And the nice thing about them is they have a ventilated base, a lid, and you can then have an entrance that you get a really good open and close situation, and you can put a screw or something in there to hold it. This makes taking this colony home much easier, and then hold it down with a ratchet strap. That should also be in the kit. So what I do is I put the sheet where I can, right under the colony, which is hanging. I take the lid off the box, position it as best I can. If I'm small enough, I cut the colony on the twig, lower it in gently, give it a little shake, drop them in, or even just lower it in, and the queen will probably be in there. And almost immediately the bees will know, and if you just leave the lid slightly ajar like that, so there's a hole, and you leave the entrance open, you'll find the rest of the bees will land and they'll just walk straight in, and that's taking a swim.